Good morning, guys. Welcome to my replay viewers. Thank you guys so much for jumping in, checking out my broadcast. Sorry I missed you live, but so glad you guys took some time to check it out. What is up to my live crew this morning? Great to see you all this morning. So glad to have you here. I appreciate you guys coming in to hang out with me on this Thursday morning. Mel Harper, what's up, my friend? Kat, good morning to you. Bonnie, great morning to you. Tracy, great morning to you. Alexis, it's nice to see you. Jackie, great morning to you as well. Bonnie, I see you. Great morning to you as well. Alex, good morning, buddy. Tracy, good morning. I see you. Appreciate you. Nigel, what's happening? Y'all are amazing, and I appreciate you. We're going to continue working on your mindset this week, y'all, and today we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs. The legendary limiting beliefs. I'm seeing a lot of limiting beliefs lately. I'm hearing a lot of limiting beliefs, and I'm seeing a lot of limiting beliefs. So Justin, how do you see limiting beliefs? I see them because when people have limiting beliefs, they wear them like a cloak, and I'm going to describe and explain that here in just a second. But we're going to talk about limiting beliefs because they're so powerful, y'all, and they are absolutely deadly to goal-driven individuals. So we're going to unpack limiting beliefs today. We're going to talk about what some of those beliefs are. And I'm going to give you some tips on how you can overcome those once and for all. That is our topic in conversation for today. So all you guys that know me, you know who I am, you know how I roll. I would love to have you hit that share button and invite your crew into the broadcast. Get anybody in here that you think may want to hang out with us and take part in this conversation this morning, all right? And then if anybody's brand new, if you've never seen me before, if you have no idea who I am, first of all, welcome. I would love to greet you into the broadcast and say hello. If you want to give me a hashtag first time and let me know if this is the first time you've ever seen me, I would love to say hello, and my crew would love to make you feel welcome. So let me know if it is the first time you've ever joined in with us. And then lastly, guys, I very much appreciate every single one of y'all that is checking this out on the replay. If you are on the replay, I would love for you to know that you can still comment and interact with this broadcast. I would love for you to give me a hashtag replay. I do see those comments and I do respond to those as well, so I'd love to know that you were here, all right? On that note, guys, we're going to roll because I do not waste my time and I choose not to waste yours, so let's jam. All right, y'all, that is who I am. That is what I do. Justin Kaplan Pro is my name. JustinKaplanPro.com is my website. I'm a startup business mentor and a branding strategist that specializes in helping startup entrepreneurs turn your passion, your gifting, your ideas into a profitable and sustainable brand that rises up in this challenging digital marketplace to draw in the 21st century consumers that want and need what you have to offer. Guys, I broadcast live every single weekday morning from Tuesday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, hooking you guys up with business building tips, hacks, and principles, anything I can give you to help you grow your business, expand your ministry, bring your vision to life, and grow that brand of yours online in this digital marketplace. All right. Great morning to you, Glenda. Thanks for coming in, my friend. Amber, great morning to you. Bonnie, I see you tagging a few of your friends. Thank you so much. Daniel, what's happening? Michelle, good morning. Appreciate all of y'all. Everybody give me a great morning to you, Justin, in the chat stream. Give me a great, isn't it a great morning? It's not a good morning. It's a great morning. Everybody give me a great morning in the chat stream with maybe some of your favorite emojis. I want to make sure everybody's alive and awake and paying attention this morning, ready to go, all right? We're going to talk about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are such a deadly thing to goal-driven individuals that absolutely shut you up, lock you down. I've said this before and I'll say it again, that there is no level of training, there is no level of support, there's no level of guidance, there's no level of money, there's no level of resources that will take you beyond your belief system. If you do not believe it is possible for you, it will not happen for you, which is why we're having this conversation this morning, because I said as I was starting my broadcast today that I am hearing a lot of limiting beliefs lately, and I'm seeing a lot of limiting beliefs lately. Justin, how do you see limiting beliefs? I see limiting beliefs because when people carry limiting beliefs, they wear them like a Halloween costume. You chose it, you picked it, you're wearing it, but it has nothing to do with what's inside of you. And as soon as you realize that you're just wearing a costume and you can take that thing off, you can let the you come back out. But it's a cloak. It shuts you up. It lies to you. It lies to the people around you. It makes people see you differently. So we're gonna shed some of those masks today. We're gonna shed some of those costumes today. I'm gonna give you a quote by Roger Ebert. I like giving you a quote of the day. My quote today is from Roger. Roger says, "We are put on this planet only once, and to limit ourselves to the familiar is a crime against our minds. Remember, we all get what we tolerate, so stop tolerating the excuses that have paralyzed you where you are." Shall I read that again? This is from Roger Ebert. Great morning to you, Keith. Love you, buddy. Daniel, love the emojis. Everybody give me your favorite emojis. I've only seen Daniel's emojis so far. Give me your favorite emojis. Jacqueline, I think I saw yours. Good morning. Great morning to you, Jacqueline. Thank you. Let me read this again. Roger Ebert says, "We are put on this planet only once, and to limit ourselves to the familiar is a crime against our minds. Remember, we all get what we tolerate." I said we all get what we tolerate. So stop tolerating the excuses that have paralyzed you where you are. Isn't that so good? It is the beginning of a fantastic day. I love that, Nigel, and great morning to you. All right, so limiting beliefs. The biggest obstacle, in my opinion, I think the greatest obstacle that entrepreneurs encounter is not lack of time, it's not lack of resources, it's not lack of connections, it's not lack of money. I think the number one obstacle that business owners, goal-driven individuals, startup entrepreneurs, the biggest obstacle that you face is self-limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are things such as, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, I'm a failure, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I'm gonna get laughed at, no one is going to like me, I won't be able to maintain it if I'm successful, I could lose everything, I can't do this on my own. Delete and cancel all those statements off my own life. But those are things that are limiting beliefs, and those are the type of things that are absolutely paralyzing people from accomplishing what they are really truly set out to accomplish. So why are self-limiting beliefs why are self-limiting beliefs so deadly to goal-driven on individuals? Let me just cover kind of the why behind this a little bit. The reason why I'm so passionate about this topic, and the reason why I want to have this discussion today, is because productivity is vital to entrepreneurs. Well, productivity is never an accident. There's a great quote by Paul Meyer that says, "Productivity is never an accident. It is a result of a commitment to excellence." What does he say? There's three things. I have it on my phone. Let me look it up real quick, because this is a great quote I'm going to give you. Productivity is never an accident. It is always the result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. So productivity is crucial. But when you struggle with your mind, when you struggle with your mindset, productivity goes out the window, especially in early stage entrepreneurs, because your business utterly depends on how productive you are. And in early stages of your business, chances are cash flow is probably going to be tight. Resources are going to be limited. Connections are going to be shallow, right? So there's not a lot working for you early on. So you need to be able to leverage the heck out of your time. And when you struggle with self-limiting beliefs, you tend to waste an enormous amount of time thinking and pondering and wondering and asking and pulling back, because all those limiting beliefs, if unchecked, will completely destroy you before you really even get things off the ground. So a couple things that limiting beliefs do that I noted down. I was just thinking about how limiting beliefs really affect people. Good morning, Claudia. The first thing I think about is that limiting beliefs really lower your aspirations. They really lower the potential of your dreams, because deep down inside, if you don't truly believe you can accomplish a desired goal, you'll set your goal lower. And I think that's subconscious. I think it's like a subliminal thing. It's the way it affects you. If deep down inside you don't really believe that you could make six figures in a year, or you don't really believe you could get to that next rank, you may say, yeah, well, my goal is to get to this level, but deep down inside of you, you might say, well, it's probably not likely, so I'll just kind of shoot to get to this level this week. So it lowers the bar of achievement. And it brings you down to the point where we can get comfortable with mediocrity. And not only are you limiting your true potential for what's really possible for you, but you're radically limiting the success of what your business really could be. And the thing is, y'all, there's so much noise in this market. There's so much saturation in this market. There's way too much noise in this market for you to be conservative, let alone mediocre. So that's one element of it. The second piece of it is limiting beliefs will create a pattern of self-sabotage. And can y'all relate to this? Do you see this happen? Limiting beliefs will absolutely create a pattern of self-sabotage. I've seen this in action, and it's not pretty. It often looks like this. Let me think about this for a second. Let's say you think deep down inside you're a failure. Maybe you've made some mistakes. Maybe you've done some stuff wrong. Maybe you feel like you don't deserve success. But you so earnestly long for success, so you throw everything into your entrepreneurial pursuit. You work 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week on that goal, on that dream, and you're on the brink of exhaustion because you really, really want success. However, you don't believe in it. So something in you, in spite of how hard you're working, causes you to make the crushing mistakes that completely negate all the energy and all the hard work you've put into it. You self-sabotage your efforts. Errors like procrastination, errors like over-planning, seeking approval from others, looking for quick fixes, dabbling. I talk about dabbling a lot. Perfectionism, excuses, comparisonitis, fear, all the things. All those, I'm going to call them errors. Those errors lead to more and more failure, and it only serves to reinforce the belief that you are a failure and don't deserve success. So that is self-sabotage. So self-sabotage and limiting beliefs doesn't mean that you don't want it. It just means that you don't believe in it and you don't believe it's possible for you. But a lot of people, are y'all awake out there? A lot of people, man, I see this so often. A lot of people work so hard and they try and they try and they try to do more. But because their mindset isn't going along with them, they do a whole bunch and then they stop. And then they do a whole bunch and then they stop. And they wreck their progress. And then when they don't achieve, they get to a point where like, I haven't arrived where I thought it would be. I thought I'd be further than this now. Then it just reiterates and confirms the fact that, well, I guess I'm not possible. No, it's because you haven't been consistent. You've been procrastinating. You've been over planning. You've been seeking approval. You're looking for quick fixes. You're dabbling, right? All those things are a symptom of limiting beliefs. All right. The other thing that happens with limiting beliefs is you tend to increase procrastination and tend to increase laziness. You'll agree with that? Like, we've all dealt with limiting beliefs on some level and some point in our times. Just some people have it worse than others. So limiting beliefs will put you in a position where you actually increase procrastination and you increase laziness. It becomes easier to put off an important task if you don't believe performing that task is going to lead you to success. Because in your mind, you don't feel like it's really going to work out. So I'll just put that off. And because deep down inside you don't believe you can truly achieve whatever that goal is for you, it makes it easy to avoid doing the necessary work of really doing what's necessary to grow your business in favor of serving Facebook or watching Netflix or meaningless busy work or working on the house or whatever that is for you. You kind of shift away from, well, I'll work on this so I can feel like I'm being productive because I really don't feel like this area is possible for me. So it's a byproduct of your mind. If you don't feel like it's possible for you, you tend to just kind of shift away from it, and you might still be busy, but are you really being productive? All right, the last thing that limiting beliefs will do to you is they'll drain your energy. Y'all agree with that? Limiting beliefs will absolutely drain your energy. You ever notice that drain that happens when you're emotionally conflicted? Like what's been going on in this world right now? Like it's exhausting. Like all the stuff, all the division, all the things that are just going on. It's exhausting if you allow it to consume you. If you allow it to get you in a position where you're emotionally conflicted, it absolutely drains your energy. Your heart wants to do one thing, but your mind wants to do something else. So you end up fighting with yourself. It's internal struggle, right? It's internal conflict, and it will absolutely drain any motivation and energy that you've got in you. And it's so important to carefully manage that and cultivate your best energy, your best mindset possible every single day, because that's the only way that you can really truly progress on your business. Otherwise, the quality and the quantity of what you accomplish within a set period of time will be adversely impacted. But when your heart aligns with your mind, there's something so powerful in that. Do y'all agree with that? Have y'all experienced that? Give me an amen on the chat stream. When your heart aligns with your mind, that's when you become unstoppable. I think that's when you I think that's when you really step into your sweet spot where you believe the gifting that God has given you, you're honoring it, you're being a good steward of it, you're focused on it, and you've got yourself in a rhythm where you're like, yeah, I'm in my mode, I'm in my rhythm, right? So, yeah, self-limiting beliefs will absolutely drain your energy. And you sort of think about all these things. You think about it lowers your aspirations. It already creates patterns of self-sabotage. It increases procrastination and laziness. It drains your energy. Sounds awful, right? Sounds awful. So I want to shake some of these loose. Now, I'm just curious. I wonder if we can be transparent. I don't know if I want to ask you this. I don't want to ask you this. I'm not going to ask it to you in a point where I want to make you kind of admit to it, but I do want you to notice. Can you just notice this? This is what I want. The reason why I spent 16 minutes talking about what limiting beliefs are and what they do is because I want you to recognize if you are wrestling with them. That's why. All right? Because listen, you cannot help someone who does not believe they do not have a problem. And the first step to growing and moving beyond your current situation, the first step into becoming the next level, next version of you, it begins with self-awareness. You've got to understand where you are before you can move forward from it. You cannot move forward from an undefined place. Somebody put that in the chat stream, will you, for me, please? You cannot move forward from an undefined place. Justin Kaplan Pro said that. All right? So I want you to recognize and be honest with yourself. Can you just be honest with yourself this morning if you are dealing with limiting beliefs and at what level you are dealing with limiting beliefs? Because if you have gotten to the point right now where you're like, I don't feel like I'm dealing with limiting beliefs whatsoever, you might as well hang up the broadcast and go watch something else. Because I'm going to talk about how to overcome these. But I'm talking to people that are recognize that in this area of my life, I think I may be struggling with this a little bit. In this area of my life, definitely I need to deal with this. And so I want you to just all of us to be transparent with this a little bit, all right? So let's talk about how to overcome limiting beliefs, all right? I'm going to give you kind of 6 different steps that we're going to go through. We're just going to talk through it, all right? The first one is to carve out some time and to identify your limiting beliefs and write them down. Number 1. Carve out some time, give yourself some focus, and identify your limiting beliefs and write them down. Now, again, I gave you some examples like I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, I'm a failure, I don't have the time, money, or resources, I'm going to get laughed at, no one's going to like me, I won't be able to maintain it if I'm successful, I could lose everything, I can't do this on my own, I don't have enough connections, nobody knows me, there's too many other people doing what I'm doing, delete and cancel all those statements off my own life. But those are the types of things. Those are the lies that we're telling ourselves. All right. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you, buddy. All right. So number 1, carve out some time to identify your limiting beliefs and write them down. Now I'm going to give you a hint here. If you're like, I don't know what my limiting beliefs are, they're usually the same thoughts that replay in your mind every single day, or they're familiar thoughts that are triggered. Triggers are something to be aware of. They're familiar thoughts. Good morning, Alexis. Good morning, Rach. Good morning, Dale. They're triggers that will kind of rise up in specific scenarios, like when you think about your finances. So, for example, if you might say, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I'm a failure. I don't have the time, money, resources, connections. No one's going to like me. All those types of things. Those are all examples of limiting beliefs. But there also might be situations where you're like, you know what, Justin? I think I'm pretty good. I feel like I'm doing fine. I don't feel like I really struggle with limiting beliefs. Be like, all right, well, I have a program that I believe if you are ready to go and you are completely focused and you are feeling like you are ready to get your next level, I'm getting ready to launch my next season of Unleashed, and it's a $3,000 investment. I would love to have you consider it. And something about me saying that investment, you're like, I don't know if I can afford that. There's a belief system in you that certain things. So maybe it's a financial trigger. Maybe it's a certain trigger where you start doing work on your business, but as soon as you start working on something, you say, I think I'm going to write a book. And as soon as you say I'm going to write a book, a little voice in your mind goes, no one's going to read that. No one's going to buy that. No one's going to pay attention to that. Those are limiting beliefs. Those are things that you are wrestling with in your mind. Great morning to you, Camille. I see you, buddy. All right. So carve out some time to just jot down and write down some of the most significant limiting beliefs that you have. Try to write down all of them, but really try to start with the ones that tend to rise up in your mind all the time. All right, that's number 1. Now, I'm gonna go through 6 different pieces of this. What we're gonna do is, once you take time to write down your limiting beliefs and get down any of those beliefs that you have down on paper, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick one at a time. So this is step 2. Step 2 of overcoming limiting beliefs is you have to work on one at a time. You cannot work on a variety of limiting beliefs at the same time, because limiting beliefs are born in different stages. They come from different scenarios. So you can't really work on them all together. It really has to be one thing at a time. You got to shoot them down one at a time. And it's really, I will tell you this too, it's for the sake of, I shared with you yesterday that momentum and completion is powerful. So from the same perspective, good morning, Kim. From the same perspective, I want you to start with one that's a little easier. All right. So when you look at your list, there's going to be some that are going to be like, that's one that I've had my whole life. That one was born out of the abuse that I experienced as a child. That one was born out of the greatest mistake I feel I ever made in my life. This one has just kind of been of a nuisance. You know, see, I think you have levels. Do y'all agree with that? I think you have levels of beliefs. And so there's certain ones that kind of are like, that's a core issue. And there's other ones that just kind of a nuisance. So I'm going to challenge you to start with one of the easier ones, one that you know is definitely false. Like, for example, an example of one that you know is definitely false would be something like, all the people that have succeeded in life are successful because they had money. You know that's not true, right? The alternative to that is, you know, there's a long history of, you know, if you think about, you know, the alternative limiting belief, one of the difficult ones that's going to be hard to deal with is going to be one that has a long history of pain and emotional triggers. So something like, you know, all people who have succeeded in my niche or in my business is because they had connections or because they had money, because they had resources. That's a lie. You know it's a lie. You know it's not true. So it'd be good to start with one of those so you can overcome that real quickly. So pick one limiting belief at a time. That's your step 2. Step 3 is ask yourself why you believe this. Ask yourself why you believe that's true. When that thought keeps coming up in your mind and you keep revisiting that thought in your mind and you keep pondering on that, ask yourself why you think that's true. Like, reflect on your life a little bit and think about the instances that have or the experiences that you've had, and try writing down every experience that you have that reinforced that belief. Try to trace it back to its earliest experience. A good question to ask yourself is, if you know, let's say one of your limiting beliefs is, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be successful. All right, you know, because another one one that comes all the time. Another one that comes up all the time. I see this a lot in moms that are trying to build businesses. Is they feel selfish working on their business. They feel selfish when they are committing time to working on their craft, their brand, their products, their services, their people, their clients. They feel selfish that they should be spending more time with their kids or with their husband. That's a limiting belief. So whatever that is, whether it's I don't have the money or I don't have connections, no one's going to pay attention to me. You know, maybe one of your limiting beliefs is no one's going to listen to me. No one's going to care. Nobody's going to value me. If that's a limiting belief, then ask yourself, try to think back to the very first time in your life that you can remember feeling like you weren't being listened to or you weren't being valued. Now that can be a bit of a thicker one, all right? But if it's a simple one, like everyone that's been successful in my lane or my niche, they've had resources, they've had help. Ask yourself, when's the first time you believed that? What's the first time what's the first experience you had that brought you to the point where you started believing that? So ask yourself why you believe that limiting belief, reflect on your life, and try to write down specific examples, if possible, the first experience that you had that reinforced that belief. We want to trace it back to its origin, all right? That's step 3. Step 4. Step 4 is we want to gather evidence to support or suggest that belief is false. So now ask yourself this. Once you're dealing with whatever that limiting belief is, ask yourself, can you think of any real life examples when that statement was not true? Can you think of any examples in your own life where that statement about yourself was false. And we're gonna try to reframe it here. And I want you to try to write down every example that indicates that belief is not true in the world for other people as well as for you. So if one of your limiting beliefs was nobody's gonna listen to me, nobody's gonna pay attention to me. I want you to think back over your life and try to find one example when you spoke and someone listened, or you made an impact in someone's life by using your voice, and that you helped someone. It could be a friend, could be your parents, could be your children. Because this is the thing. This is the thing about evidence. All right, let me just give you an example about this for a second, because I think this is important. I want you to think about the court of law for a minute. All right. When you think about the court of law, and I'm not a lawyer, nor am I a lawyer's son, so I'm certainly no expert in law, but I do understand the court system. I understand the court of law. So in the court of law, you have the prosecutor, the attorney, you have the judge, you have the defendant, you have the plaintiff. All right. And so the prosecutors and the attorneys, they present evidence to support their perspective. The judge makes a decision along with the jury, and then the verdict is in, and that's the verdict, right? So the thing is that the verdict is dependent upon the evidence in the court of law. I said the verdict is dependent upon the evidence. But in God's world, as a child of the King, the verdict is already in. I already know that I'm a child of the Most High God. I already know that He has a plan to prosper me and not to harm me. Somebody give me an amen if you have a pulse this morning. All right? I already know that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I already know that He works all things together for the good of those who love Him. I already know that He's equipped me to do everything that He has called me to do according to His purpose. I know these things. The verdict is in. So all I need to do now is I need to find evidence to support the verdict that I already believe in my heart. The problem is, this is the problem. The problem is most people don't believe God's verdict. If you're struggling with limiting beliefs, you're believing a lie of the enemy instead of the verdict of what your Father has said about you and what He has declared over you. That is His truth. And so you are choosing to believe the lies of the enemy. And what happens, and I've seen this, and we've all seen this throughout our lives through different situations, is that I have found that people will search and find evidence to support whatever belief they have established in their heart. So for a very basic and simple example, if I believe one of my kids is doing something shady on one of their phones, what am I going to do? I'm going to collect some evidence. I'm going to start looking for you. I'm going to start seeing what you're doing. I'm going to start looking at your search history. I'm going to start checking your app. I'm going to see what's going on. Doesn't mean that they've actually done something wrong. But if I believe in my heart that they've done something wrong, I'm going to start searching for evidence to support what I have already determined in my mind and in my heart. Right? So the problem is, when you have a limiting belief, you have a verdict in your mind that you believe is true. And so this is where this is difficult. This is where I'm challenging you to put on your attorney hat. And I'm going to challenge you to start searching for some evidence to debunk that verdict. Because we're looking for an acquittal here of this thing. I want you to be released from that thing. So this is where I need you to fight the basic human nature that you have to try to be like, give me all the reasons and all the excuses and all the examples about why you're not good enough, about why you don't deserve it, about why you feel like you're a failure. I don't need all that evidence. I want you to give me evidence to support the truth about who God created you to be. All right? Love the attorney. I do too, Camille. That's why we got to go at it, isn't it? You got to get serious about this. We're here to win this case. So step number 4 is gather any evidence that suggests that belief is false. All right. Number 5. I'm going to give you two other pieces here. Right. Number 5 is once you have gathered some evidence and you've kind of traced back the origin of that belief in your mind, and you found some evidence to support that thing is false. Now what we need to do is we need to neutralize that limiting belief with some positive visualization. Now, this is all a matter of your mind. All right? It's all a matter of your mind, but you have to, this is really a reprogramming of your brain. Good morning, Kathy. I see you, buddy. All right? This is a reprogramming of your brain because, listen, chances are those beliefs have become so entrenched in your psychology that they have become well-established thought patterns. In a lot of cases, people get so comfortable with the belief that it's just it's just constant. It's constantly rolling around. It's like a tape. It's like a tape recorder plugged in the back of your brain, and it's just sitting there on repeat. It's time for us to change the tape. And so oftentimes those limiting beliefs can be very easily triggered because they're so prominent in your mind. So your practice is now, whenever you catch yourself thinking that belief, and you have to recognize it. That's why I said, like, before you can move forward through this process, you've got to be so hyper aware of where you're at and what belief you have struggled with in the past. So that, again, self-awareness, the first step to growing forward from any area of your life is you have to become self-aware. You have to admit to yourself you cannot move forward from an undefined place. So if you're like, all right, you know what? You're so welcome, Carice, and thank you, Camille. I appreciate you. You're like, you know what? You're right. I have been wrestling with this limiting belief for a long time. I've had this belief that I'm not enough, and that doesn't matter what I do, that I'll never personally have enough to be successful. That is a limiting belief straight out of the pit of hell. Delete and cancel that statement off my own life. So, but if that's your limiting belief, you have to be aware of that, and you have to realize that that belief didn't get here overnight, and it's not going away overnight. You're going to have to work on it just like it worked on itself to program itself in your mind. But what you need to be aware of is you need to be aware of anytime that thought pattern is triggered and it rises up, and another thing happens, we're like, you see, I knew I was not good enough. You need to catch yourself right there. No, delete and cancel that. And that's where you need to shift it. So if your issue or your limiting belief is I'm not good enough, then you need to just reprogram and be like, you know what? I'm not good enough. That's right. But you know what? If I was good enough, I would have already had what I'm working toward. The point is, no one is instantly successful. No one is good enough in the beginning. It's a process. Therefore, one way to directly challenge that limiting belief is to reframe it and say to yourself, you know what? I may not be good enough for where I want to be 5 years from now, but I'm good enough for today. I have exactly what I need to today. God has equipped me and empowered me with everything that I need to be successful today. So you reframe that feeling that you have that you're never going to be successful, because oftentimes the way we look at limiting beliefs, we're framing a limiting belief for we're comparing where we are now to where we want to be. So you might have a vision for where you want to be and where your goal is going to look like. You're like, I just don't know if I can do that. I just don't know if I can be successful. You know what? You may not be that person quite yet that goal is going to require a year from now, but you are good enough for who and what you need to be today. So you can claim that. You can reframe that. Another limiting belief that you might have is you might say, I don't deserve it. So reframe that. Why not you? Why does someone else deserve to win more than you do? The way I see it, everyone deserves a great life. Everyone does. Now, of course, not everybody does, which means that when you get to win, it should be doubly celebrated, because not everybody gets to their goals. Not everybody gets to their accomplishment. The trouble, of course, is guilt. That's the problem. So somewhere along the line, you were taught that others deserve more than you because they worked harder or were more disadvantaged than you or whatever. Baloney, right? If they get to win, great. Good on them. If you're smart, you'll pay attention to what they did so you can learn better next time. But if you get a win, even better. Good on you. It's that simple, right? There's no reason whatsoever that you don't deserve success, and there's nobody on this planet that deserves it more than you. So reframe that belief. Whether I win or not, I deserve success. My success will come in its time. My God has a plan to prosper me, not to harm me, to give me an amazing hope and an amazing future. My God didn't design me to live in poverty. I serve a God of abundance. I serve a God of more than enough. My God doesn't work with barely making it. I deserve everything that He has called me to encounter, right? So reframe that belief. Every time that thing rises up, you need to speak to it. Speak to that mountain. The Bible says, speak. If you say to that mountain, it'll be cast up and removed into the sea, or tossed into the sea. The Bible doesn't say if you pray about that mountain. If you reach out to your prayer chain and ask them to join arms with you, and you all just talk about the mountain, it says if you say to that mountain, if you speak to that mountain, just like David stood in the face of Goliath, on that battlefield, and he looked at him and he says, I say to you, and he spoke directly to him, you come at me with sword and spear, but I come at you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, the king. He spoke directly to Goliath. You need to speak to your Goliath. In some cases, your limiting belief is a Goliath in your life. So don't talk about it. Don't pray about it. You can't pray about it, but you need to speak directly to that thing. You need to reframe it. So when that thing rises up, its ugly head in your life, you cut that thing off and speak directly to it. Another one that's going to come up for some of you is, I'm a failure. Listen, we have all failed. Someone want to give me a hands up? We all have stuff that we regret. We all have stuff that we have done wrong. We all have stuff that we felt brought us to the lowest points in our life. We've all done things we're not proud of. We're all failures at different levels. If you were a complete and utter failure, you'd be dead by now. That's the way I look at it. As long as you're still breathing and moving, there's only one way to fail, and that's to stop trying. There's only one way to fail, and that is to stop trying. It's never about failure, but rather how you perceive the learning process. So reframe that. You're not a failure, you're a learner. So whenever you get to the point where you start kind of rehashing and say to yourself, you know what, I'm such a failure, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to be successful. Be like, no, I'm not a failure. I'm a life learner. Every experience is preparing me for my next level. I have gone through this to acquire knowledge and insight and experience, and I'm going to be able to leverage that experience as I move into my future levels. You reframe that thing and say to yourself, everything that I'm going through, God is working all things together for my good. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to grow from this. I'm going to be better from this. It's all preparing me for my next. All right? Here's another one. It's the common one. Number 4. I'm giving you just examples of some of these. All right? Number 4 is, I don't have the time, money, or resources. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. Neither does that guy or that girl or that annoying 15-year-old kid tinkering in his parents' shed on their way to becoming the next multimillionaire. Right? He didn't have the time, money, or resources either, but he's figuring out a way to make it happen. It's never a question of time, money, or resources. Ever. Because I'm a personal example of that. I've lived through that. It is never a matter of how much time, money, or resources you have. It's a matter of passion, perseverance, and resourcefulness. I'm going to say that again. Your hang-up is not time, money, or resources. Your hang-up is your passion, perseverance, and resourcefulness. There's always time if you want it bad enough and you're patient. There will always be a way to find more money or resources if you keep connecting more and more and more to the right people and you're patient enough. The key is patience and perseverance. Both are essential traits. So reframe that. When you feel that rise up, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources. Reframe that. I will consistently work at it, and I will find the time and the money and the resources. I'm attracting new connections right now as I speak. The Lord is looking for ways to supernaturally bless me. I have exactly what I need to do exactly what I need to do today. Reframe that thing when that thing rises up, all right? Here's another one. I'm going to get laughed at. No one's going to like me. True. You know what? True. You're gonna get laughed at probably, or ridiculed in some other way. You're going to have haters. Not everyone is going to like you. You have to get that through your head, that everyone is not your audience. Not everybody's going to think you're God's gift to this planet. You're going to have people sitting and watching you with their popcorn in hand, waiting for you to crash and burn. The fact is, though, many people, and hopefully that includes the ones closest to you, will be supportive. There is an audience of people that is designed specifically for you. There's an audience of people right now in this world today looking for you and for what you can help them with. Because the thing is, y'all, everybody's got a problem that they need solved. Everybody needs help in some way. So people are out there right now looking for someone who can help them. And they're looking for someone just like you who has the ability to help them. You got somebody out there right now that is searching for someone like you. And the only reason that they haven't found you is because they don't know who you are and they don't know that you can help them. So reframe that one. The people that matter will surround me and support me. So every time that limiting belief rises up, that I'm going to get laughed at and people aren't going to like me, be like, you know what? I'm going to reframe that. The people that matter will surround me. The people that matter will support me. I am building my tribe, and I'm growing it one by one. All right, let's keep going. Here's another one. It's a big one. Is I won't be able to maintain it if I'm successful. This is a big one. I never wrestled with this one when I was growing up in my business. I never wrestled with this one because I was always like, bring it on, man. I'll take it. But I see this more and more, and a lot of people really struggle with this one. I won't be able to maintain it if I'm successful. I'm curious with all you guys that are watching. I'm live on 5 networks. I got 40, 45, 46 people watching live across. Anybody want to admit to having wrestled with that one? That if I'm successful at doing what I do, I won't be able to maintain it? A lot of people really wrestle with that one. It's a doozy. So this one comes straight out of the strange world of self-sabotage. It really is. Like, self-sabotage is based on real world problems, being that maintaining and growing success takes more effort and sustainable growth than the initial achievements. It's hard, right? It's hard work building a business, right? So the critical part of you is in constant effort to protect. You're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to protect yourself because you're trying to say, it might be easier in one sense, but if I fail, that might just be easier than to try to go on. But of course, it'd be disappointing in the grand scheme of things. The key is to remember that you are deserving, and you are built to learn. Every one of us are built to learn. Otherwise, you would never have succeeded in the first place. Also remember that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Somebody want to give me an amen to that? So I can almost guarantee you that you're not ready for the success that is directly waiting for you down the road. But that's the point, isn't it? Isn't that the point? That's where growth happens. That's where faith is cultivated. That's where we recognize our need for the Lord and also recognize that none of the success that we have or will experience is from our own hands. So if God gave it to you, that means he's qualifying you to handle it. And that should excite you. Does that make you excited? So the second that you start challenging yourself to think that if I'm successful, I won't be able to maintain it, I think that might just be a matter of your pride. Because honestly, he's the one that will sustain it. He's the one who will sustain you. And if you're truly leaning on him and following his leading, Lord, take me where you want me to take me. Do what you want me to do. Guide me where you want me to go. And I'm going to trust that as I reach the different levels of this business, you're going to prepare me and position me and give me everything that I need to handle it. So you have to reframe this one. The first time is the hardest. If I've done it once, I will be able to do it again and again. God is qualifying me every single day. I don't have to have all the answers right now. I will stay within my day, and I will be a good steward of what he's put on my plate, or the assignment that he's given me today. That's a reframing of that one. So the next time that I won't be able to maintain it, if I'm successful, rises up, be like, baloney. God is qualifying me every single day. I am learning every single day. I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to be the best. Every expert was once an amateur. Every pro was once a beginner. I am in the stage that God has called me to be in today. My steps are ordered. He has a plan to prosper me. I'm following his leading. I'm trusting his guidance, and he's working all things together for my good. Somebody needs to declare that today. Amen? Somebody needs to declare that over your life today. Another one, number 7. I'm just going to keep talking through these because I really want you to see how you need to reframe these. Number 7 is I could lose everything. Too true. That's true. You could lose everything. But then again, lots of things could happen to you. You could be struck by lightning and picked at random for a random trip of a lifetime. The next person you meet may become your best friend or someone who is trying to take advantage of you in some way. Who knows? We've all seen what could happen in the blink of an eye with the year 2020, right? Who knows? I don't think it has to be about winning or losing everything, but rather a careful consideration of risk versus reward. This is how I look at it. So you take a risk every single time you leave the house, and sometimes you take a risk by staying in the house, right? What you really want to consider is, do I want this? And what is the smartest way to go about it? So for myself, I will always follow the pursuit of my dreams. I will always be relentless about the things that I'm passionate about, but I will always cover my responsibilities. I will always cover my responsibilities. So take as many calculated risks as you can, but never risk more than you can afford to lose. So reframe that one. If you say, I could lose everything, I will always seek, the reframing would be, I will always seek a healthy balance between risk and reward, and I will always cover my responsibilities. It doesn't mean that you're stopping your pursuit. It just means that you're being a good steward, right? Just being a good steward of what God has entrusted to you. Number eight, and I think I'm going to end with this one. I can't do this on my own. The truth is, humans are social creatures, and the decision to go off and work on things, often by yourself, is a difficult one to make. And a lot of people struggle with that. I struggle with that. Or a lot of people struggle with that because entrepreneurship can be lonely. Entrepreneurship can absolutely be lonely. So as you work through that, you have to realize that you'll learn that you are more resilient. When you start out on your own and you're building on your own, you learn that you're more resilient than you thought, and that you can cope with that. It's a crucial lesson that I think you have to learn by building a business, because self-reliance is an extremely important trait to grasp as an entrepreneur. Do y'all agree with that? Self-reliance is important. Ironically, this also tends to improve your relationships because you become more appreciative and efficient with the time that you do have with others. And this has happened to me completely. Was, coming out of corporate, I relied on so many people for a lot of things. And then I'm becoming self-employed. I had to do all the things myself. And I learned in my mind, I got programmed in my mind that my time became incredibly valuable. And so what happened was, because I had to be so intentional with my time, that intention with my time translated into my time with my wife, and my time with my kids, and my time with my family, and my time with my friends. So that I was being less just happenstance about my time. I was being much more focused with it. So when you struggle with that belief where you say, I can't do this on my own, reframe that. Say, you know what? I will become comfortable operating on my own. And I will, in turn, make the most of my time with those that are most important to me. And you're gonna acquire relationships and support systems along the way. But I think there's something very powerful about starting in a place where you are comfortable and confident building on your own. I think it's very, very, very important. All right. I have a list, y'all. I have a list of reframings that I'm gonna make this available to you. I have all the ones that I've written out so far, but I have things like, if your limiting belief is I don't care what others think of me. Reframe it. Everyone cares to some extent. Instead of denying that you care, instead say it's not possible to have everyone like me, but I can learn from those who don't. If you say I can't trust people, that's a limiting belief. Some people aren't worthy of your trust. It's true, but this shouldn't mean that you lump the entire human race together. Instead, say I will trust people based upon their intent, or based upon their merit. Here's another one that I talked about. Moms, pursuing my dreams is selfish. Reframe it. You were placed on this planet for a purpose. Who are you to limit what your dreams are? Instead, say to yourself, I can do all things, and I will trust God and His timing. I have this list. Where do I want to put this thing? I'm going to make this available to you guys digitally. If you are interested in getting this list from me of reframes on how to reframe your limiting beliefs, just shoot me an email, will you please? Shoot me an email at justincapandpro@gmail.com. Let me see if I can type this in here. I wonder if this will put out. pro@gmail.com. Did I type that right? Yep. See if that hits out everywhere. I just dropped it in Restream. There it goes. It's on Periscope. Yeah, this should show up everywhere. It may not show up on Facebook. Yeah, I went to YouTube and Periscope. Yeah, so Facebook, y'all, somebody drop my email in there, will you please? JustinCapandPro@gmail.com. If you want to get these list of reframes, just shoot me an email, JustinCapandPro@gmail.com, and I will send you this list. I'm going to type it up a little bit differently. I just typed up this list real quick in case I had time to go through them all, but we're running out of time today. So I told you I was going to give you 6 steps. I've given you 5 so far. Your 6th step is rinse, lather, and repeat. So I talked about step 2 is pick one limiting belief at a time and work on one at a time. Once you kind of work through this process, then you just rinse, lather, and repeat the process. You go back through, pick one, ask yourself why you believe it, find it, gather evidence to support that that belief is false, neutralize that limiting belief with positive visualization, reframe it. And then it's something you have to work on. Again, I'm going to tell you that limiting beliefs don't show up overnight. And they don't go away overnight. It's something that you have to be aware. It's something that you're wrestling with. And then once you realize that you're dealing with it, then every single time it rises up, you can immediately begin neutralizing it. And it'll take some time, but eventually you'll be able to neutralize that thing and overcome it. Once you feel like you've overcome it, then start working on your next one, all right? I'm going to leave you with that for today, guys. You're amazing, and I appreciate you. I know 51 minutes of your time is so valuable. It's a thick subject, but hopefully this was good for you. Did you guys find this helpful today? I'm talking about limiting beliefs. It's a tough subject to tackle, but I think it's a necessary one. I think it's so important, and our minds, y'all, our mindsets are so important right now. So I appreciate you spending your time with me this morning. If you got anybody that you feel needs to see this, you can feel free to tag them in the chat stream on Facebook. Share it out to the people that need it. It's very much my pleasure to serve you and to help you this morning. All right, guys, have a beautiful day. Be intentional with your time today. Be intentional with your talent. Get after those goals that God has given you, and I will see you all around the web. All right, take care. God bless. And I'll see you guys later.